It's Tuesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. YK in the building.
Yo. Good morning.
Good morning. I love this color. This is our color for the week, purple.
No, this was last week. I'm coming from Lekki.
Okay, so yeah,
It's one color.
I like the color though. How are you doing, YK?
I'm fine.
How's Lekki? What's happening?
You know, I'm just very disturbed because what is happening in Nigeria is the successive governments have not dealt with the healthcare system in Nigeria. And now our leaders, they can't go abroad. So they are dying here. Me, I'm not going to start talking or extolling the virtues of any leader that dies right now. Because if they had dealt each person that is in charge of whatever state, if they had dealt with the healthcare problems in their state, we will not be facing the COVID-19 problems that we are
at this level, at this scale,
facing now. You know, now these people have money to go to the best hospitals. If they are sick, they are going to the best hospitals. We are now stuck, and you and I can maybe afford a bit better than most Nigerians now. But this the hospital I hear they are using 30 million. When you go, is deposit 30 million. Where will I see 30 million to go and deposit if I get COVID-19? Where? You know, so they're not considering our people. They're not. So when I'm seeing it, and it's paining me because we are reporting deaths of popular people, but we're not reporting deaths of the poor Nigerians that are dying every day. Every day. Every day. Yeah. You know. I even heard that they are banning Nigerians from traveling. They will soon ban us from traveling to Europe soon.
Really?
Yeah, I heard that we have cut that. I haven't seen the paper. I didn't see the paper, but I was on the radio this morning that we are going to cut the list of people banned. Even though our numbers are low, they know we are not conducting tests.
Enough tests to.
Sorry, I'm lamenting.
Yeah, I can see
I
that.
mean, I will lament about COVID until a cure is found in Nigeria.
Even the budget of health changes. They try to increase it a bit, but we're still not happy about what is happening. But we know that COVID-19 has brought a new reality. The truth is that they have to focus and they have to ensure that education and healthcare are the primary focus going forward.
Priorities: education, healthcare, and security. Yeah. Those three things.
Those were the three things that the president's campaign that he was going to do also. So we're waiting.
Was number one.
Yes, was to deal with corruption, insecurity, and the healthcare sector was one of the least he gave us.
Okay.
I'm fine, and I cannot afford not to acknowledge the fact that many Nigerians are suffering one way or the other based on all the inconveniences that has occurred within this season, and most importantly, excessive implementation of laws by police officers. So there are in some cases we have videos of implementing the nose mask, and that has turned into a brutality case where people are falling down. And then there's the case of people that interstate travel allows food to pass through, Murayo. Interstate travel allows food to pass through. But you talk to those food vendors that are bringing in food from other states, they'll tell you they settle every police point, and there are more police points. So the food prices have scaled up, and people have less income. So it just doesn't, I'm not able to understand the flow of order. Yeah. Because if the IG says, okay, this and this is the law for now, and implementation is different.
Totally. Someone was telling me that they have to give money to 10 various hospital and police officers. Checkpoints.
The road.
10 before getting to Lagos.
You know, I live on the coast between Ogun State and
Lagos.
So that's where I met those police that day. And they were asking me for my driver, you want to pass COVID to me? Why are you asking me for my driver's license?
They're supposed to ask for your driver's license. It's just not for them to engage you.
Okay, why are you touching my particulars? I can show you like this now.
Right.
You don't have to engage.
Yes.
Because we know what we're dealing with.
Okay, unfortunately.
I can have it, you can have it. So we can pass it to each other. It's true.
I don't think they get that.
Let's be realistic.
Okay, today is a lamenting Tuesday. Let me go on a break. Are we done?
Yes, we're done. We need to just pick up for many people.
I love your hair.
Thank you, Ike.
I have to tell you.
Let's go on a break. We'll be right back. We're going to start with the punch. APC interim panel to visit Tinubu begs members to withdraw suits. Picture here of rehabilitation of Kara Bridge along the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. FGOK's Primary 6, GSS3, SS3 resumption ends interstate lockdown. Police arrest 2 for siphoning fuel from Lagos homes. Power grid has collapsed 108 times after privatization, says TCN. Again, Attorney General of Federation Army refused to produce killer soldiers as Odume trial begins. And Buhari Olubadan Makinde mourn as business mogul Bode Akindele dies at 88. Okay, which story are we taking in Punch?
The two that the police arrested, Abayomi, Shafe Abayomi and Victoria Ogunsomi, they had wells in their homes. And they had used it to, anytime NNPC is supplying the products, they will siphon the thing. And so it was a resident that was concerned. Let fire not start to, that reported. The police went there. They caught Victoria with everything. But Abayomi, I think he might have got wind of the raid. So he had cleared everything. Because they caught her with the tubes that were directed to the wells. Right. And then she explained that it was when they built the house, they built a well. And they used to get clean water. Then NNPC now started using the pipeline. So they started getting petrol or petroleum products. And that's how she started taking the...
Let's switch that story in Punch.
Let's take just quick follow-up on the Wadume story. Right. So the trial is ongoing. Wadume is a kidnap kingpin whose arrest led to the death of 3 gallant police officers. And now, while the trial is ongoing, the human rights activists and even the police officers that survived are saying, why are the killer soldiers not being brought into the trial? And I was trying to identify what's the reason for them not being involved yet. I know that they are facing a court-martial in the military court-martial, but they've not been involved in the joint prosecution of this case that involves Wadume. And the people are saying that they should actually be involved because they were co-opposites in the release and the killing of 3 police officers. Okay, let's move on to the nation. The Kara Bridge. Okay, I want to take that story. Let's take Kara Bridge. Yesterday there was, over the weekend, there was a fire incident that like 3 trucks were involved. I think it was on Friday. And after that fire incident, which caused major gridlock, they realized that the bridge might be compromised. So the testing and fixing of the bridge led to major gridlock yesterday. People complained that they couldn't get to their houses for hours. Today looks like the traffic is better, but I'm happy that they are on top of the game so that we don't have a disaster long term. Moving on quickly now to the nation. COVID-19, 18 councils with 60% of cases for lockdown. Electricity tariff hike to wait as Lawan Gbajabiamila intervenes. Kogi CJ's death raises issue on state virus status. And business mogul Akindele dies at 88. Okay, lots of stories here. This lockdown, they're about to, partial lockdown, they say 60% of the cases we have are in 18 councils across the country. Yeah, those councils, Lagos, Lagos has like one, they didn't give us the list actually, but 3, this was 4. According to Nation, some people give us a list. According, because they had given us that list, I think it was June 2nd, they said they had given us that list. But this, in the address yesterday, the PTF did not mention the local governments could be considered. But based on the last report, they were able to bring out a few of them, of which is, in Lagos State, we have about 4 or 5. 11 local governments in Lagos State. Yep, Surulere, Lagos Island, Amuwo Odofin, Apapa, Oshodi, Ikeja, Koshofe, Alimosho, Etiosa, quite a bit. Mushin,
Lagos mainland.
So they're thinking of a few councils to be locked down. And also in a related story, they are going to lift the interstate lockdown and also the exiting classes, GSS3, SS3, and I think primary 6 will be allowed to go to school for the examination. And I know that the state government have been preparing for that possibility in the past few weeks. I know the Lagos state government have been working just in case. They were all waiting on the federal government to declare that. So now that it's been declared that they have to open, they're going to be planning. They might give a 2 weeks window to prepare the schools. I'm not sure. I'm just saying that on my own, just to prepare and get ready for this opening.
So
any other story?
The electricity tariff hike. We discussed it last week on the show. We're supposed to start enforcement of the tariff hike tomorrow.
I'm loving Gbajabiamila right now.
It wasn't just Gbajabiamila. So the meeting yesterday was presided by Senate President Lawan and supported by Gbajabiamila. And both of them were able to prevail on this goes to also ask the president to shift implementation to April 2021. And the Manufacturing Association of Nigeria, a lot of entrepreneurs, according to the papers, are saying that it is not convenient to increase the tariff right now, considering what Nigerians are going through. These are saying unless we have cost-reflective tariffs, we cannot guarantee improvement in the power supply. So how do we balance this? We want at least for tomorrow now, you guys can relax. We're not
let me breathe a sigh of relief.
YK.
Business mogul Akindele dies at 88. He lived a good life. He's really popular and well known.
He had donated a lot of money for this COVID.
19.
A lot of money, about 200 million, something like that.
Okay, moving on. His soul rest in peace.
Amen.
His families, God will care for his family and take care of them as he
Amen.
exits. Okay, moving on to Daily Sun. Teacher protest as FG reopens schools. Government considers total lockdown of 18 local governments contributing 60% of COVID-19 cases. Court dismisses certificate forgery suit against Obaseki. Insecurity, Igbo groups presses for enforcement of Operation Lion Walk. APC caretaker committee tells aggrieved members to withdraw their suits. And court orders Gbajabiamila NASC to disclose cost of newly purchased 400 cars. I read that story. So what happened was that there was a public interest lawsuit filed against the National Assembly. And I think it was a court in Abuja that gave the, I think it's Kingdom Human Rights NGO, they got them the right to ask. In fact, they've insisted on giving them an order for Gbajabiamila to release the contract papers of acquiring the 400 cars, how much the 2020 Cha-Cha Camry Toyota cars, tell us how much it is, and they want to see it. So the court has given them the approval to get that. And
we must upload the civil society group that did
NGO,
that.
We should know. We should know the money that should have gone into treating COVID-19.
So we know the total, but then as in the breakdown of how it was spent, so that we know how it was inflated. The Igbo National Council, INC, has commenced the strict enforcement of Operation Lion Walk Vigilante. This is launched last week to check the actions of the headsmen in their zone. They've been announcing that they're going to, there'll be a team to protect their citizens in the southeast, and now they've implemented it. My prayer is that they're able to integrate this with the police officers and the security apparatus within the state, so that we don't have any case of abuse of power or somebody doing things that we don't know. Really
Let's move on to Daily Trust. FG lives interstate travel. Picture here of 3 children were rescued from kidnappers' den by operatives of the IGP Intelligence Response Team. They're being shown to the press for their parents to identify them in Abuja yesterday. How I knew Khadija was dead, mother of 6-year-old rape victim. National Assembly postponed hike in electricity tariff. Nigeria loses 61.1 trillion to illicit financing. And change inevitable, Boni tells aggrieved APC members. So these children were kidnapped. And I'm so happy that they've regained freedom. So their pictures are here, and they're hoping that their families can actually identify them and comfort them in Abuja. And in Kaduna, the rape cases in Kaduna has totally skyrocketed. They had about 485 cases of rape between January and May. And currently they are dealing with 108, as I speak right now, of cases of rape. And this child, 6-year-old, was raped and died. She was like within 30 minutes of her being abducted, she had been raped and killed. Really, really sad story. Her mother was was giving an account of what happened, and it was a very painful story to read.
For me, there
I'm
should be a
happy that
combination.
civil society is on this rape case. Many people are talking
There
about
needs to be
it.
a combination of the punitive measure as well as major mass education of people, of the victims, of the potential victims, and even the perpetrators of this crime, so that we don't need to put them all in prison or now say want to kill anybody. Let them be like, it must go walk hand in hand.
Moving on quickly to Vanguard, Emir of Daura, insecurity now worse than civil war. You're right, Afenifere replies. Ohaneze Pandev also agree. COVID-19, FG lifts interstate travel ban to lock down 18 local governments. Prepare for real change, APC caretaker committee tells members. The Gaussians groan as failed road cause gridlock. 6-year-old girl raped to death in Kaduna Mosque. Okay, which stories are we taking on there?
We skipped one story about the NCAA, that's for the airport authorities, that they are going to revoke license for private airlines to travel during the lockdown, that they've been getting the permits for non-commercial flights and it's been really abused, and that any private airline that is found culpable of this would have their charter cancelled, and they'll be penalized for this. Also saying about 100 of the privately owned airlines right now have been operating and exploiting the lax law. So I'm happy that they're stepping it up, but really it's almost over. They should punish them for the crimes committed in the past. Okay,
so I see the story Wike was referring to here. I didn't read it, but it said that EU excludes Nigeria to follow 15 countries in, to allow 15 countries in when borders open July. So by July 1st, EU would open their borders, but Nigeria has been excluded because obviously we're not testing enough, so they can't even determine how many of us has COVID-19. Well, all the handwriting,
let's not feel too bad.
Handwriting
on the list.
on the wall is saying that stay in your country. That's pretty much from top to bottom.
Yeah.
They are here.
In this season.
They are confined within our borders.
No vacationing.
We're not even worried about whether we are supposed to stay in our country. I mean, my daughter wants to come home. She can't come. I'm really upset.
That is her home. Which home?
Forget that.
Which home? Her husband is Oyinbo. Which home?
She wants to come back to Nigeria for a while now. She wants to come out. Our children must know their roots.
Yeah, not now.
She's not Nigerian.
Let COVID finish first. Not now. We're not missing them yet. Let them stay in their country. It's Tuesday. Let's go on a break. When we come back, we'll discuss drug and substance abuse. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So, drug and substance abuse in Nigeria have become a threat to public health, national stability, peace, and security that needs more than urgent attention. 26th of June happens to be World Drug Day. So in commemorating that day, we have with us a pharmacist, Clara Anyanwu, who is an Assistant Director, Drug Demand Reduction Division, DDRD, NCS, NAFDAC. Welcome to the show.
Good morning.
How are you doing today?
Good morning. It's good to see. I'm fine, thank you. I'm fine.
Yes.
I hope you're enjoying the wet weather.
Yes, we are. It's nice and cool. Right, so drug abuse, especially in this COVID season, everybody's chewing everything you hear on radio, on TV. 1 second is magnesium, the next second is vitamin C, the second then all sorts of things. We just go off the shelf and get whatever it is we can. As we're commemorating that day, what's that message you'd like to share with us today, especially on how we choose the drugs we use off the counter?
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here once again. Now, Drug Abuse Day, World Drug Day, dates back to the 7th of December, 1987. And the whole idea is to rid the society of unnecessary use of drug abuse. Now, with this situation on COVID-19, of course, people are depressed, angry, all sorts of reactions because of the situation. And drugs tends to be the way to go. My advice to everybody is to understand that, first of all, a drug is a poison. It is a poison, and it is how you use it that makes it useful to you. And then we need to understand that there's a difference between a drug and a medicine. Now, a drug is pharmacologically is defined as anything you take in that changes your physiological response, your biological response generally. Whereas a pharmaceutical drug is intended to treat, prevent, and diagnose diseases. So everything we do, it's our response to how we take these drugs that is a problem. Now, if you take a drug and you begin to enjoy what these drugs do to you, and then you begin to take it for your selfish reason, not because of what the prescription or the drug, the package actually says it's meant to be used for, but rather you're using it to get away from the situation. Like, let's give example, this COVID situation, you're depressed. You are angry about what is going on. And then you find that when you take a particular medicine, because prescription drug could also be abused. It depends when you're not taking something the way it ought to be taken, but rather for your selfish reason, the way the effects you are getting, that's when an abuse comes in. And then gradually, your body begins to tolerate it. And when I mean tolerance, you're no more responding to the specific dose that is actually safe. You're now needing more to get the same effect. From there, you're getting to dependence. And that's when you now begin to feel that I can't survive this COVID situation. I can't survive my situation without the use of this particular drug.
Okay.
And the gap between that and addiction is the problem. So that's what we should be very careful about during this period.
Yeah, you were talking about the drug. So there's the drug that, affects your brain, you get high. Then there's the drug, like, since this COVID-19, I've been taking zinc and vitamin D and vitamin C. That can qualify as a drug, not to affect my brain, but,
build your immune system.
It's supposed to build my immune system, but it was not prescribed by a doctor or a pharmacist. Could that be taken as drug abuse? And when do you know that you are crossing the line? Painkillers too is another thing. Some people take painkillers,
We'll come to the painkillers. That's how bad. Did you get that?
Did you get that?
Not, it was breaking, so it wasn't clear.
Okay.
But I think I could make out that asking if you take a drug. I heard zinc and I heard vitamin C.
Yeah, I was talking about now we take these immunity boosters, what we call immunity boosters. When will you be crossing the line? And then with painkillers as well. When would you be crossing the line? Because I know painkiller is something that you can actually abuse. You didn't get that?
Let me make you understand something. If you are taking a drug to prevent a situation, you are now taking a medicine. And you are taking it as you were told to take it. Then you are keeping it within the range that it is safe. There's no problem there. Now, if while you are taking this medicine, you get another psychological feel, a feel of euphoria and excitement that you enjoy, and you go back to that medicine or drug, not for the medicinal use, but for what you are enjoying from it, which is not medicinal. Maybe just getting you out of a situation. That's usually what happens with drug abuse. You are in a situation, you want to get out of that situation. Then you take something that will get your mind off it, not giving you a deceptive look about whatever the scenario is. Yes, that's drug abuse. So if you are taking a medication that is meant for a treatment, not for the treatment, rather because of probably the side effects that makes you feel happy, euphoric, then we are heading for drug abuse. Because you need to understand, where drug abuse is concerned is CNS effect, yes.
Okay, let me go on a break. We'll try to get the connection clear so that we can hear each other. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Where were we? Thanks for staying with us. So we still have with us pharmacist Clara Anyanwu. So are you still there? So
Yes,
the
I am.
question concerning the abuse of immune boosters, could you tell us, can that be abused?
Immune boosters will be more or less misused before you say abuse.
Okay.
Misused in the sense that you are now taking more than prescription, because there's actually a quantity where the amount you're supposed to take. Where it comes to abuse now is when it's beginning to hurt you, and there's really a thin slide between that. Now, when it comes to abuse, you start noticing changes in your behavior. Something that affects your CNS is an abuse.
Right.
A misuse is mostly physiological. So when something is happening to your organ, that's usually what happens with the abuse. That's the misuse of those drugs. Yes.
Right.
Something will start happening to your organs or something. But when something starts happening with the way you reason and you think, yes, you are gradually going to abuse.
Right.
Okay, so I wanted to ask, still within the vitamin C and zinc and all this family, is it possible to overdose on them? Because most of the time we're now doing 1,000 grams because we're trying to like shore up our system. Is that too much? And at what point are you overdoing it?
You know, vitamins are really very tiny micronutrients that were required in the system. Now, the abuse is really very low.
Okay.
With the vitamin C, once you take it 3 times a day, you're relatively free. But you see, the Nigerian mentality is they feel the more they take, the more they get out of the situation, which isn't. Just take that quantity and you are safe. Anything else, you are hurting your organs. So that's what I'll say. But no, you are relatively safe with vitamins because you can take that. You can go ahead and take your vitamin C. That's in the form of fruits. That's relatively still safe, you know. But I wouldn't encourage you going to say you want to take 6 or 10 of it in a day. Now that's getting a bit too much.
Right.
Even though it's
6 or 10 100 grams.
Sorry?
6 or 10 of 100 grams. Me, if I buy the 100-gram one, I
Yes.
can take 10. No?
Some people may just take about from that 1,000.
Oh.
The quantity still pouring about relatively just one of it at a meal is okay.
Okay.
Okay, now let's go to painkillers. Because, I mean, I know people, let me not put somebody close to me on the spot right here, but she's always has a bag, a medicine bag next to her. Pain, every small thing. It's malaria. My body's hot. And they're constantly, every month, I know this person, she's over 70. Every month, she's on malaria drug. Is that normal?
No, every month is really too much. Yeah, you are trying to prevent, then why you're beginning now to misuse the drug? You're misusing it. Like I said, misuse is a big, eventually it starts taking effect on the organs, and you need to be very careful with that. So usually I would advise that if you're going to take anti-malaria with what is happening with this immunity and all that, maybe once in 3 months, it's okay. Just to do a preventive thing.
Right.
Now, before you go into malaria and you're sure you have a malaria parasite in you, you must have gone to run some tests. And when that is proven that you do have malaria, then we probably boost whatever it is that you've been taking already or change it completely. Probably is ineffective.
No, sorry,
But it's not.
I want you to address something
There is
because
malaria.
we are in Nigeria. Almost every family is taking malaria drugs because of one thing. We don't even go to the doctor to come and check if I have anything on my blood.
Feverish.
Once I feel a bit of feverish, malaria don't share, we'll give you. So are you recommending that it's okay every 3 months to do that, even without going to see the doctor?
I think relatively it's safe to do that every 3 months.
Oh,
Just
great.
do a check for 3 months. And then also you look at your environment. If you're a place where there's a lot of mosquitoes, it's infested, yes, probably. Then for those who are already protecting themselves, sleeping under the nets, No, you don't need to go up to 3 months. You probably go up to 4 months before you do that. It's just a preventive.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so I wanted to ask concerning, we've been keeping it within the regular drugs that we take, and I'm happy that we're educating people about what's safe and what isn't. But there are drugs that are being abused, like proper drugs, drug abuse. And I'd like you to educate us all on the side effects of drug abuse long-term.
Like Benylin, codeine,
Tramadol, those things. Then the
Retinol.
mixtures that a lot of our young people, teenagers, are mixing different things together. What are the immediate effects on the body and long-term effects on the body?
And one more thing, a lot of people mix energy drinks and the codeine, energy drinks and alcohol. So please, can you address these young people right now?
Even old people do that.
Okay, thank you. Maybe I should go back with the energy drinks. I need everyone to understand that energy drinks contain caffeine. Caffeine is a controlled substance. Caffeine is easily, you get addicted to caffeine very easily. And caffeine is a stimulant. It increases your brain activity. Something that should be, you are now overactive. That's hyperactive. That's the CNS effect. Now, with the prescription drugs, most of them analgesics. Now, by the time you are taking a painkiller for a specific pain, after a certain time, if you keep abusing or using that drug when you don't have a pain, it's like somebody becoming, you're insensitive to pain anymore. You don't have the pain sensations anymore. Yeah. You're like numb. You don't feel anything. And that's why you see some people being able to do things that ordinarily human beings can't. You can see a young boy being able to carry 4 bags of rice and he's running. The pain has gone. But gradually what this does long term is the way you begin to reason, coordinate your brain activity just isn't normal anymore. And then you begin to become addicted. You are depressed, you don't feel what it is that is going on in your surrounding. You don't notice or see the person in front of you anymore. You are just, in fact, if I could say this, that's what you become. You are not conscious of what's happening, and then you react to things the way your brain sends the message to you. It may not be real. A driver can be, a bus driver, for instance, may be going on 3rd Mainline Bridge and suddenly veers off the road because he feels that suddenly the bridge looks like the ocean and the ocean looks like the road. Wow. So that's what happens. Your perception, the way you see things different. So sometimes when you see some very terrible accidents, you begin to wonder, how did this happen? Didn't they see this? No, they did not. Their perception of life and things and environment around them is now thwarted. They don't see things the way you see things. And then they begin to have problems. So that's the general.
Sorry, when you're talking about painkillers, you know, it's in the entertainment world, it's very painkillers. Like, well, Michael Jackson was supposedly on painkillers, you know. And I just want to tell you one experience that I had when I was still dancing. One of the dancers got she sprained her leg, or no, she got muscle pull or something. And the doctors, you know, these American doctors, they just came, injection, gave her painkiller. That day, the dance, she danced. So the other 2 of us were looking at her, see the power. Hey, so the next day we were asking, please, that painkiller that they gave her, can you give us? They said, no. You know, but that taught me that you can actually abuse a drug and live, you know, a false life, like you were saying, on painkillers.
Before we move on, madam, I'd like you to talk about sleeping pills. Because people are overdosing on sleeping pills, especially those that are having issues with insomnia, and they just feel like they cannot sleep without the sleeping pills. How can we control the use of sleeping pills?
You know, the only way we can control is if we do this following the prescriptions. Because when a doctor prescribes a sleeping pill to a patient, there's usually a number of days the patient is actually supposed to use these drugs. And after that, if there's an issue, he or she is meant to report back to the doctor. And then let's see, do an analysis, a check, and maybe improve or reduce what it is that we have. The problem is most Nigerians, when they get the effect they want more. So thereafter, you don't go back to your doctor, you go to a pharmacy
and just
probably show this prescription and get some more. Because mentally, you are beginning to feel that I cannot do this sleep without the drug. You don't even want to try. You don't even want to try the normal way, like watch a boring movie, for instance. You know, have a boring talk with. Yes, please.
How do you think that we can actually stop the pharmacists or the pharmacies from selling these controlled substances over the counter? Because sleeping pills, cough medicine, tramadol, people have access to these drugs. How do we stop these pharmacies from actually dispensing these drugs to these people? Because I know that if I go to the right chemist, I can go and get sleeping tablet if I want. It's because I don't want. But a lot of people have access to these drugs. So what do you think we can do?
Like you rightfully said, a pharmacist will not do that. You know, the problem we're having is people do not know the difference between a patent medicine store and a pharmacy. So if you go to a patent medicine store and you show your prescription or you ask for this, yes, most likely they'll give it to you. But a pharmacist would ask you why. Do you have a problem? Have you used this before? When was the last time you prescribed it? Then we look at the date, because you see, a prescription will give a date. I will know how long you were asked to take this drug. So after a certain time, a pharmacist would not dispense that drug unless you have gone to see a doctor. And if there's need, he or she may just give you something for the day, depending on the description of your problem. Because then we need to talk to you specially and know why you need it. And sometimes by the time we are having this discussion, we understand that you don't need it. You are just beginning to feel that you are dependent on it. Okay, so the important thing is for the pharmacist, for the people to understand, if you need to go to get your prescriptions or your drugs, go to a registered pharmacy that has the sign, that PX green thing. If you go to a pharmacy that doesn't do that and you're being handled by a patent, we are still working on that.
Right. Okay. All right.
So I wanted to ask this quick question concerning this aspirins. There's this powdered, I don't want to mention the brand, but there are powdered aspirins that they put into water and then you drink, or sachets that you put into your mouth, and that they feel this energy boost. Some people have said that it is poisonous and it has long-term side effects. Can you please break down what the side effects of those sachets of aspirins, powdered medicines that people ingest to get energized?
Like I said, you know, aspirins are like analgesics, yes, anti-inflammatory, some of them. Now, by the time you are taking aspirin, yes, there's this boost initially, because you are not feeling this, when you abuse, there's this euphoric feel, after which that numb feel comes, because what it does really is bringing temperature down, bringing down pain, inflammation, they play a role in that. So by the time someone is abusing such things, like I said, it's like you are not feeling nothing, you're just energized. You don't feel your environment, you don't even feel the immediate person beside you. So it's a dangerous thing, because the next thing is your organs. And usually the organs that are affected the most with this is your kidney and then your liver.
Right. Let me, I'll come to you, Weke.
CNS effect, yes.
Let me ask concerning herbs, because some of us, a lot of our young men out there abuse this herb. We have these women carrying all these things around, and people say, oh, it is this, it is that, and obviously there are no proper measurements for these things they drink. Because people are listening to you today, and some of them are thinking that, listen, we can use it because we are all going local. We are saying, look within. Let's look Nigerian. Let's do what we have. Let's use our herbs. So people are now having that mix of, what do I do? How do I measure the herbs? How much of agbo is too much or too little to use in this at this period? Could you help us address that, please?
Okay, when it comes to herbal, we are not disputing that some of these herbals has effect, but our problem has always been how to measure some of these things. And with the herbs, it's important, that's why the pharmacy comes in. We isolate that particular chemical that has an effect. Now, the other substances that come with it, that thing that they use to dilute, you and I don't know what the substance is. People respond to things differently. The way, if I take it, it may do, the medicinal part of the drug may work for me, but what of the substance that was used to dilute it? There's something called idiosyncrasy. The way I will react to it is very different. And then these herbs that we are talking about, after they make these preparations, sometimes they don't sell it all off. They probably keep it under their beds for another day. And the longer those things stay in whatever substance it is, it either becomes more potent or becomes a poison. And then when you take such things, then trouble starts coming up. And then unfortunately, the doctors have to start understanding what it is. You don't even know what particular bark it is. Some of these people were not trained. They were not properly trained. They just got this from their mom and then went on the road mixing these things up. There's no standard measurement. And that standard measurement is very key in whatever treatment it is.
Okay.
That
We have
you
to
are
wrap up. So
Is it possible to overdose on ginger?
overdose on ginger.
On ginger.
Yes, so because ginger is a purgative. So by the time you do it, you're almost emptying all your bowels. Yes, it can be very, in everything, a drug you need to understand is a poison. And there's a dosage that is safe. Anything above or below is dangerous.
Unfortunately, I have to let you go one at a time. Thank you so much, madam, for joining us on the show this morning. We learned quite a bit from you. Thank you. Let's go on a break. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So many young people believe that some diseases are meant for old people. However, study shows that young people are also prone to diseases like diabetes, kidney, and high blood pressure. We have with us a Dr. Onyedikachi Chioma Onwakama, who is a public health practitioner to discuss understanding diabetes, kidney disease, and high blood pressure in young people. Good morning, madam. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Good to have you on the show. So,
Thank you.
Especially in this season of COVID-19, where they keep telling us underlying illnesses make you even more susceptible to the virus. We've also been told that these three guys, the diabetes, kidney, and high blood pressure, are those are the underlying illnesses that COVID seemed to be very, very accustomed to, and that's why some of these cases can be very fatal. How do we detect these diseases in young people early enough?
Okay, here's what I'll say. Thank you for having me. So about these diseases you mentioned, hypertension, kidney disease, and diabetes, a lot of people feel that they are the disease of the old. And some people are worried that recently there's been a surge in the number of young people who are coming down with these diseases. However, what I like to say is that you can't discover what you're not searching for. And if you've not been investigating the young people, you won't really know. And these old people who come down with these diseases, most times, it doesn't mean it was during their old age that they actually got these diseases. So how we can be able to, detect these things on time would be, preventive healthcare screening. So in Nigeria, we don't have the culture of screening on a regular basis. You can't just see a Nigerian who just wakes up and decides, oh, I just want to go and check my BP or check my blood sugar, especially the young people who are just trying to make it in life. Okay, so I think one of the ways we can be able to, catch these things young and control them better would be, educating the masses, firstly, enlightenment, letting them know that, firstly, the young people can have these things, and secondly, letting them know what screening services they can go for, what tests they can go for, regular checkups like hypertension. I mean, every young person should know that every month, at least, you should check your blood pressure every month if you are not a known hypertensive. And same thing for the blood sugar, and for the kidney disease, the tricky part about these three things is that sometimes they don't really show symptoms on time until maybe it's getting too late. So at the end of the day, I would still say screening is one of and testing, regular testing and health checkups will be one of the effective ways we can be able to curb this in young people. Thank you.
Okay, if you're like me and you don't really like to go to the hospital, are there any symptoms that can tell you that your blood pressure is getting high, or you might be diabetic? Because I hate hospitals.
You are none of us.
Okay, so valid question. I mean, I'm a doctor, but I will tell you that I also don't like hospitals for myself.
Hello?
They might not necessarily want you going to the hospital, okay? They might not necessarily warrant you going, having your own blood pressure monitor in your house is okay. Why I'm saying this is that, as I said earlier, most of these diseases don't show symptoms on time until they are late. However, when they do show symptoms, I'll take hypertension firstly. When they show symptoms during the end stages, maybe when the person is already coming down with heart failure or, a particular hypertensive emergency, even stroke. Young people can have stroke. So sometimes it doesn't really show symptoms. The complication just happens and people are like, where did this come from? Someone just slept and didn't wake up. Somebody was just talking and then his face shifted to one side. But then some of the signs that could show you symptoms could be maybe frequent headaches, people who are hypertensive or who are going towards that area. Most times they have frequent headache and sometimes it's not really warranted by anything, or maybe just mild exertion just makes you have constant headache. Sometimes it's not even relieved by analgesics. And then this can also be symptom for anything. So that's why I will still keep emphasizing screening. Then, breathlessness or mild exertion is also one of the symptoms of some hypertension or, long-standing hypertension. Breathlessness or mild exertion, example, when you want to climb the staircase, normally you climb the staircase without, losing your breath, but then climbing a few steps or just little exercise or little movement, and then you're breathless.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So I've read somewhere that there's a connection between diabetes and kidney diseases, that most people, when they discover they have diabetes, after using the drugs for a long time, it tends to lead to having kidney failure. What's the relationship, and how can a young person who is diabetic prevent it leading into a kidney issue?
Okay, thank you so much for this question. These three non-communicable diseases are interrelated. Diabetes can lead to kidney disease. Diabetes can also lead to hypertension. Even hypertension can also lead to kidney disease. Now, when it comes to diabetes, diabetes, prolonged diabetes, uncontrolled diabetes can affect the nerves. It can affect the blood vessels. Mostly is sugar being in the blood.
Uncontrolled.
Blood sugar, uncontrolled sugar in the blood. And then sometimes it can lead to narrowing of the blood vessels, and then blood flow to the kidney is reduced, Another thing could be for hypertension, when it's in the blood vessels. There's something we call atherosclerosis. So there's kind of thickening of the blood vessels. They become thicker, so they are no more as elastic as possible. So pressure in the blood vessels, that's high blood pressure, and it can also ultimately lead to hypertension. So for kidney disease, I would advise anyone who is diabetic to, seek help, go to the hospital, see a professional. Some people are, have had diabetes since they were born, and they've not come down with kidney complications. So the knowledge of, firstly, knowing that you can be at risk, knowing if you have a family history, going for screening and catching this thing on time can help you better control your diabetes or your hypertension. And once this is better controlled, I mean, they will always monitor your kidney functions too. So if there's any problem, even if you have any kidney disease, it can be found at the early stage and be well managed.
Okay.
So this would be the advice.
Right. Let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation with the doctor. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So we still have the doctor with us. Yeah, Waike, you had a question?
Huh?
Yes, obesity, Waike, you were mentioning during the break.
Okay, oh, sorry. Somebody very close to me is pre-diabetic. And he's not doing the things that he should do. Can you just, because he might be watching, help me give him advice on what to do? Because I think that exercise and then weight loss are the things. Can you just advise people who are pre-diabetic, and then what is pre-diabetic? Can you control it and not become diabetic?
Okay, thank you so much for that. I would start by saying that I know a lot of people on that table, who know what they should do, but they don't want to do it. So what I would say is, at some point, you need to realize that you are the one who is in charge of your health. You have to take charge of your health. And no matter how anybody tells you what to do and when or how to do it, until you get to the point where you decide that you want to be well for yourself, it won't work. So when it comes to controlling of diabetes or even pre-diabetes, as you rightly mentioned, now it's mostly when the blood sugar is within 126 gram per dl, and it hasn't tipped over. The normal is about 80 to 120. So whenever it's higher than that, then we're talking about diabetes. When it's prolonged and above 126 over time, then we're talking about diabetes. Now, for someone who is pre-diabetic, my advice would be, firstly, there's no management that you can do alone. It has to be collaborative between you and your doctor, your nutritionist, your fitness trainer, all that. So it's a collective thing. When it comes to management of diabetes, hypertension, and any of these conditions, dietary and lifestyle modifications need to be made. Now, when it comes to diet, we're seeing a high rise of these things because our diet is not as it used to be. During the time of my grandparents and great-grandparents, they were more conscious about what they were eating more vegetables, and good foods, whole meals, grains, and foods that are rich in fiber. It's not about saying don't eat this and don't eat that. When it comes to diabetes, we don't tell you don't eat. That's old practice. What we are more concerned about is portion control. And you have to, the way you can know what portion is good for you is, talking to a nutritionist or a dietitian who will help you formulate a meal plan that is for you. You can't use my own meal plan. You can't use the next expensive meal plan. And they find out foods around you, even the foods that you enjoy eating. Because most people shy away from this whole diet thing because they feel like, they're going to just tell me to be eating maybe a plantain, or telling me to be eating something I don't enjoy.
Salad.
Making it boring. Yeah, thank you. Making food boring. But now, with new knowledge in medical science, we know, and nutrition science, we know that you can be able to eat, those things you love that are safe for you, but just eat them in a controlled portion, portion.
Fantastic.
So doing that is very, it's with lifestyle changes like exercise and, movement, and not living a sedentary lifestyle. Those are very important. Weight.
Thank you. So I wanted to ask a question concerning people that have birth defects from birth, heart conditions that are not treatable, that you're meant to manage. How would such people who know that, okay, maybe I have a heart issue or I'm having leg issues, how can they now incorporate exercise and diet into preventing some of these sicknesses? Like, you have a heart condition, but you don't have hypertension yet. How can you ensure that your heart condition doesn't lead into you having hypertension?
Okay, someone who was diagnosed from birth, it means you already had some kind of medical support. I mean, the doctors have, you have a good, a close relationship with your doctor, because, I mean, that's advice for you to have been diagnosed early. So your doctors will tell you what to do. Now, when it comes to exercise, the truth is, most people feel like exercise is stressful because of what they see on the internet. You want to push your limits, you just want to just stand up and carry one weight that is bigger than you. But then that's not what it is. And that's why I mentioned working with professionals. Not many people can afford this, but then there are also apps and different things right now in the digital world that can help, telling you what kind of exercise is good for you. Now, about helping yourself not to tip into hypertension, I would say there are different types of heart diseases. So I can't really speak specifically for all of them because of time. But I would say that for controlling, if you already know you have a tendency, in medicine, we say you have a risk factor for hypertension. Maybe it's even your family, someone in your family, or maybe your lifestyle. You just know that you are high risk for hypertension. I would advise that you modify. There are some things we call modifiable risk factors. Those ones you can change. You can't change your genetics. You can't change your family history. But then you can change behaviors like alcohol intake. Okay? You can drop that. It doesn't benefit you. Smoking, all those things increase your blood pressure. They also they're implicated in almost every non-communicable disease, talking about diabetes, hypertension, and even kidney disease. So firstly, alcohol and smoking.
Let's talk about alcohol for a second, Doc.
To you.
They tell us that alcohol can be measured, like you have the right quantity, it's okay. Do you still agree with that, or do you think we should just stop alcohol totally?
Okay, so I mean, for something that is not beneficial for you, some people will be like, alcohol, I need some alcohol, to function. The body needs alcohol. But here is the honest truth. I'll talk as a doctor, okay? So the honest truth is that this alcohol that you're talking about, your body, your body generates alcohol from even the carbohydrate foods that you eat, even as common as your bread. You can make the alcohol in it. But then some people, for social reasons, want to drink and all that. That's understandable. If you are disciplined, because these things there's a point to get to, and then you become addicted to alcohol because it's a drug. So we advise that for people who insist on drinking, you should at least take a drink per day. A drink per day. Now, a drink is relative. It's about 12 ounces of beer, a 12-ounce bottle of beer, Then is a shot, when you're talking about spirits, a shot, the shot glass, that's what it is. Then a glass of wine per day, that's totally okay, for you, for those who insist. But then I would advise that, since it's not beneficial to you, if you can avoid that, please avoid. It comes with a lot of risk, and you might just never know. You might think, I can control this. I can just take a drink per day, or, but then before you know it, it becomes another thing, especially in social drinking. Find out that you started abusing alcohol. So if you can, desist.
Fantastic. Thank you. I would have loved to press further, but there's some people that I care about that are listening to you, that hopefully they are getting the message. Thank you, Doc,
thank you so much
for this enlightened conversation. That's all we can take. We'll be speaking with Dr. Onyedikachi Chioma Onwakama, who is a public health practitioner, discussing understanding diabetes, kidney and disease, and high blood pressure. That's all, ladies. Thank you very much. Hope you had enjoyed the show as much as we did.
Very informative show.
Have a fabulous day.
Somebody tweeted that it's a very informative, educative show today.
Thank you. Thank you. So if you love to drink, please caution it, because some of us like to drink too. Have a fabulous day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.
We know that. Those that are